Let us have a faux song spotting session together, shall we? It'll be a little bit one-sided because I can't hear you. That's not your fault, that's mine. The idea here will be to see if I can simulate what it's like to spot a scene, to look at the scene, see the beats of it, and say, okay, what's a possible song here? That's good, write that down. What else? Okay, what else? Okay, what else? When I run song spotting sessions, I would say, I don't know, 30%, 40% of what comes out of my mouth is good, but what else? What else can we do? What else haven't we explored? If there's one person in a scene, what if it were a duet? Like, what do you mean, what if it were a duet? There's only one person in the scene. What if it were a duet? How do we do that? Who else would be singing? Is it a fantasy sequence? Is it a flashback? Do we do 2 time zones? Is he talking to someone who isn't there? Are they talking to someone they wish were there? That kind of thing. What if it were a trio? What else? Great. What if we're a dance number? So I want to talk you through that process. The point here is don't reject any idea. Write everything down. You are not going to use everything. In fact, you're not going to use 80%. You're not going to use 90%. You're going to way over spot and have way too many possibilities. The goal here is by rummaging and re-rummaging and re-rummaging, there might be a piece of an idea that there's likely to be one obvious choice. If it's a monologue, well, it's a song by that character. But as you explore other different arenas, there might be, oh, that color didn't occur to me, but because there might have been a trio here, we could kidnap the content of that wannabe trio and stick that in the B section. Or, this led us to collapse scenes 7, 8, 9, and 10 all into one sequence, which starts with this monologue moment, but it grows and grows and grows. You won't know in advance whether an idea is going to be good. You'll know pretty on the pretty terrible ones, but write those down anyway. They're useful to have. I have chosen rather arbitrarily a really short scene from the script, Happily Ever After When Fairy Tales Go Bad. This is Act 2, Scene 4. The scene is that long, and it's one person on stage, making the song spotting session both easier and harder. Easier because here's the monologue, it's a song, done, right? And harder because, okay, so what else? The first thing you want to figure out is, what are you trying to say? What territory does this song cover? I'm going to read to you the entire scene. It's going to take, all of 91 seconds. Act 2, Scene 4, in front of the castle, Chicken Little is alone. The context here is that the big bad wolf has stolen the book of good endings, and so now nobody has any good endings except the bad guys. And Chicken Little is tinier than the rest and than everybody else, and nobody believes him that the sky is falling, and he knows he could save the world. Chicken Little says, I could have helped. I really, really could have. Why am I always left behind and ignored? Just because I'm small. I have ideas and plans just like anyone else if they'd only listen, but they don't. So, 2 choices. Go home and have a nice good cry, or pull myself together and rescue everybody. I pick rescue. He starts scaling the walls of the castle. He climbs up out of sight as the lights change to something else. What are we trying to say? This is Chicken Little making a decision. He can either go home and have a nice cry or pull himself and rescue somebody. That it immediately implies one of those decision structures. I could do nothing or I could do something. I could do nothing or I could do something. I think I'm going to do nothing. I think I'm going to do something. Right? That's inherent in the script there. What you want to do at this point is to bullet point the action of the of the scene. Nothing fancy. This isn't an official outline. This isn't an anything. It's just to have, you know, some dots in front of you that you can look at time and time and time again as you're trying to respot this. So here is a 1 to 3 sentence narrative version of the lyric that I just read. Sorry, of the script, but these are the beats of the scene. Chicken Little complains that no one else pays any attention to him because he's so small. He knows he can help people if they just give him a chance. He contemplates going home and giving up, but pulls himself up by the bootstraps and vows to carry out his rescue plan anyway. Again, you can do an even more informal version of that. You could do Chicken Little complains, no one pays attention, too small. He can help, give me a chance, contemplates going home, pulls himself together, to the rescue. That would be perfectly fine. So you see the implied structure of AB, which would then throw you immediately to those progressions, and you'd look at, you know, I decided I could go home or I could rescue them. On the other hand, they won't believe me. I might as well, it wouldn't matter. I couldn't rescue them anyway. I might as well stay home. No, darn it, I am. Chicken Little, to the rescue I go. AB. You could state, that's one approach. You could also state it as a, so look at the progressions and you know, go through there and say, is it viewpoint? It could be viewpoint. He could be saying, you know, I believe that no one believes in me, and it's because they dismiss me. They think that's small. I'm small. That could be the second A, and then the B is, you know, on the other hand, maybe I am too small. But yeah, maybe I can't. Maybe I should just give up. But no, darn it, and then final A, that's why I say I can save everybody. I am not too small. That would be, you know, that kind of structure. Or if it's a problem solution, you state the problem. The problem is no one believes in me because I'm so small. That's the first A. Second A would be, you know, an elaboration on that. Even though I've got a plan, no one will give me a chance. B section. Is a contemplated solution. I could give up and go home. Final A section, it takes an action. Chicken Little to the rescue, climbing the castle wall. All right. Those are the obvious ones. At this point, I don't have much left here, so now I'm going to do with you. I will say, okay, what else? I can't hear you. You're saying, what else, what else? There's progression with Chicken Little. Okay, but what if there were other characters? I don't know what you're talking about, what other characters. Let's bring in the Big Bad Wolf. What would Big Bad Wolf and Chicken Little talk about? Well, maybe Chicken Little in this moment says, you know what, I'm coming over to your side. I give up on them. I quit with them. You're saying, well, that's not here. It's not in the book. And you have to go back to the book writer and say, I'm contemplating a moment where, you know, Big Bad Wolf and we add Big Bad Wolf to the Chicken Little scene. All right, write that down. Possibly add Big Bad Wolf. Or maybe add Big Bad Wolf in a thought bubble. Or maybe the other characters in a thought bubble. Chicken Little is saying to, you know, all the rest of his friends, he's saying to Sleeping Beauty, etc., whoever they are, you know, he imagines a moment in which he says, everybody, listen to me, and they finally do, and he says, I can help, and they say, Chicken, we didn't believe you could. What do you have in mind? And he says, here's my plan, and they say, yay. Maybe he fantasizes that. Maybe he acts it out. It's a big, huge fantasy rescue thing. It's a gigantic ballet. It's a 10-minute, 12-minute thing with, you know, Chicken Little in armor and, you know, lances and arrows and fire and, you know, all kinds of battle sequences. Maybe. Is that here? No, but how cool would that scene be? Maybe he fantasized the opposite. Maybe he says, this is what's going to happen. Things are, the sky's gonna fall. It's the end of the world. Maybe he imagines first it's gonna, fall in a little tiny piece, and it's gonna land on Sleeping Beauty, and it's gonna, pin her down, ready to, come down. I'm gonna say, I told you so. And they say, that's just a single piece of the sky. And then clunk and hit somebody else. Then clunk and hit somebody else. And he says, what are we going to, it's disaster. And it's a big, like a disaster movie thing. And the whole, place destroys and is filled with rubble. We have, Chicken Little, and the song there is, I Told You So. That's a maybe. That's probably a terrible idea, but it's a maybe. It would be a cool number. Terrible for the show. Okay, what else? I still can't hear you. You are not participating. This is literally the moment where I would then, if I'm leading the session, I'd go quiet a little bit and say, pick a character, pick an idea, pick a progression. Take a different. What if it were all dance? What if there weren't any lyrics? Okay, what if it were a dance? The book we have to accomplish is going back to complains no one pays attention to him. He's so small. He knows he can help. Contemplates going home, giving up. Vows to rescue anyway. What if that's told from the perspective of dance, and Chicken Little says before the song starts, maybe it could go down like this, and then he says, but I know the way it's going to go, and then we see, just like Dance Curly, we see Dance Chicken Little, and Dance Chicken Little comes up to them and tries to dance, and they literally ignore him. They just don't see him. And so he does a bigger dance, and they just don't see him. And he gets, fans, and they don't see him. He gets enormous coins, and they don't see him. And he gets fireworks, and they don't see him. And then in this ballet sequence, maybe he finally gets their attention, and they all go, rip. And he goes, in ballet, he explains his plan, and they go, in ballet, meh, too small, and they all walk away. And then we have dance tears coming out, and he does, this silk ballet, a terrible idea, right? Still, stop me when I kill. And he has this, the silk anime tears, and then he goes home to consult, but he's got his hand on the door, and right as he's about to go into his door, he goes, way, and then dance, and we hear in the music, and we know he turns around, and he's got fire in his eyes, maybe literal fire, maybe there's fire that comes out of his eyes, and he goes, and inflates himself and puts a pot on the top of his head, and then he says, to the rescue, and that's all done in ballet. Maybe we don't need lyrics. That would be clear, wouldn't it? What else? Yeah. What if it were part of a whole sequence? That's likely because it's so small. We'd have to look to see what's before and after. We don't have that in front of us. But what if it leads into the very next scene, and in fact maybe it dovetails a little bit. Maybe this Chicken Little beat is broken into 3 or 4 different pieces, and we insert. So this is Chicken Little's beats right here, and here's the beats from the next scene. So Chicken Little says, I've got a plan, but no one will listen to me. And then we have this beat here of that scene, and then Chicken Little has one, and then their scene, and his beat, and their scene, and so on. So we sort of sandwich him, then, him, them, him, then. And maybe they're not interacting. Maybe we just take a piece of his, and then a piece of theirs, stage left, stage right, stage left, stage right. And therefore, whatever comes next is part of his song. You see where I'm headed with... But he's alone. How can anybody else sing with this? All right, what else? What is everybody else doing? Maybe we bring them on and make it be concurrent. Maybe you have to look at the scene around it and see whether this makes any sense. Maybe he could deliver this to them in the next scene. You know, he hops down and joins them and says the first beat to them, which is, "I could have helped, I really could have," and maybe that's part of a song. You know, just want you guys to know, I'm going home, I could have helped, and that's sung, that's a lyric. I could have helped, I could have helped, and they have the little scene, but you didn't take my help, you didn't want me, blah, 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 blah. You thought I was too small, blah, blah, blah. Is anybody listening? Blah, blah, no one's listening to me, blah, 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 blah. No one's listening to me, blah, blah, blah. No one's listening to me, and then everybody feels sorry for Chicken Little, and then the harp strings, etc. What else? I'm serious. What else could it be? What's the opposite of Chicken Little? Chicken big, chicken enormous, chicken enormous, chicken gigantic. What if he's gigantic chicken? What if he's fantasizing in this scene? I could help. I might be small, but inside I'm big, and we have sort of a, you know, Godzilla chicken. We've got a Ghostbusters marshmallow Michelin man. We've got super strong Chicken Little, superhero Chicken Little, and he fantasies rescues everybody. Okay, you get the idea. I still might at this point do another what else, maybe one or two more. Could it be all of that? Could it be, you know, a fantasy sequence in which he's to the rescue, and he's big and he's small and he's you know, he's orange and he's not a chicken and he's a wolf and he's All right, there you go. That's how spotting works. That's for an inch and a quarter of dialogue. Imagine a spotting session in which you, how many ideas was that? I wasn't keeping count. I know I said write them down. Did I write them down? No, and now they're gone. Thank you very much. Happily, I ran the camera. I could do that anytime I want. Was that 10 ideas? Maybe that was 10 ideas. For a third of a page? Are there 30 ideas on a page? Maybe not. But are there 10 ideas for a scene? Absolutely. What you want to do is to reach that point of what else, and there's dead silence and nobody has anything, and do not turn the page until somebody has another idea. And do that, I don't know, 2 or 3 times where you're completely out of ideas. We've done everything possible. Don't turn the page. Say, what else? Because we wouldn't have found chicken gigantic. We wouldn't have found that if we hadn't said, what else? What's the opposite of that? I don't know whether chicken gigantic is the right way to go, but that would be great fun on stage, wouldn't it? And imagine the song. Nobody wanted to help me, and now they're going to pay. I don't know that chicken gigantic has to be bad, but chicken gigantic bad there's an 11th possibility. All right, I'll stop now. You're going, oh, thank God. Oh, my Lord, being in a spotting session with you is exhausting, and I'm not even in it with you. Thank you very much. It ought to be. It ought to be just exhilarating. Okay, I'll stop. I promise. Right, here we go.